Hey there, Stephanie Joy with All Things Social Security and the Law Practice of Joy Disability. Here's a short little segment from our recent live stream Q&A that we have every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the YouTube channel, All Things Social Security. Enjoy, and if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments, and I will be sure to get to them. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now.
Justin says, treat, treat, treat. Yes, that's my mantra. Treat, treat, treat. This is your primary job in life right now. Is while you have the window open to be able to treat and prove your case, that's what you have to do. Let the lawyers and the non-attorney reps do the legal business behind the scenes on that side, but you got to give them the ammo on which to use it, or else you can't fight. You can't fight without it. Kathy Clayton's in the house. Good afternoon. Hi, Kathy. Michelle says, when going to a CE exam, do you wear a compression sleeve or bring it with a copy of the RX for it? Without wearing the sleeve, it can show the swelling experience from lymphedema. Oh, that's a good question. Is it something that you would normally be wearing? I mean, gosh, that's a good question because you do want them to see it. Now, my question is, with the sleeve on, is it still going to be evidently swollen like the rim of the sleeve with the rest of the body part? You know what I mean? I mean, you could say, I wear this every day, doctor, but I'm bringing it with the prescription and I'm not wearing it because I wanted to show you how bad it is. And I didn't think you'd get an opportunity if I was wearing a sleeve. And, I mean, you could say that, I suppose. I'm sure minds can differ on that. Wear it or don't wear it. I don't know that wearing it is going to be very bad because, I would like to think he's going to trust the prescribing doctor and all that. If it's a prescription, that means it's needed. But so I know I'm not giving you a firm answer, right? Because it really is kind of like you don't know that doctor, so which is better. Don't know, but I don't know that either one will crucify you. And and it's true that he'll see more if you are not wearing it. Just make sure that's not unsafe for you to not wear it for that short period of time. I'm assuming it's not, but I'm not a doctor. I will bring pictures of a flare-up. That's probably not a bad idea. He'll either ignore it or he won't. But you don't know unless you try, right? Old Grizz says, my back doctor referred me to occupational therapy to see what they think about my condition. That's good. Anything I need to pay attention to that will help my case. You mean when you're at the therapist? Well, if they're going to be maneuvering you and doing a little intake session, which I assume that's what they're going to do. They're not just going to talk to you. Don't be shy when PT can be uncomfortable at the very least. Sometimes it's worse than that. All for the point of strengthening some body part that's in need of, strengthening. And I think sometimes one might not want to squeal or, particularly someone who hides their pain a lot when they're doing a movement, an activity. I don't mean a movement, guys. And it's starting to hurt. I think it's important to tell them when it starts to hurt. As opposed to, it's same with true, by the way, with range of motion testing. Like if raising your shoulder here, you could feel it. It's not that you can't do it, but you can feel it. It kind of hurts someplace. And you don't say anything because you're like, it doesn't hurt that bad. That is not the time to play tough boy, right? So then they go up, 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 and you're going, and you're thinking, oh my God. And then you go, okay, that hurts. Now they think, wow, she can actually raise her arm higher than her shoulder. You know what I mean? Her shoulder can do this, whatever this is described as in terms of range of motion and all that. Now you've just raised the bar, so to speak, that you could do probably more, because if you have trouble doing this, you could do it, but it's uncomfortable. Imagine doing that all day long, because if you're saying you can do it, that's kind of like it's not causing you discomfort. That's kind of like now the new bar of, okay, so they can do this. So they can do a job like this all day long in front of them. You follow what I'm saying? So I think it's important to be clear when something starts to get uncomfortable. You don't have to scream and cry if it's just mere discomfort, but be like, yeah, that's starting to hurt. You follow? That would probably be my biggest thing. And be very honest too, if this wouldn't be for your initial, but oftentimes, and this is why I love PT records, by the way, they often ask, I think, when they intake you for the next visit, how did you feel after the last one? Don't be shy. Pay attention to the rest of your day and the next day, and even the second day, if need be, because sometimes things affect us 2 days later, and not actually the day we have it, physical therapy. And I could say that is true with people that don't even need physical therapy, just from like doing a gym workout and doing something that one's not used to. They can feel it, but sometimes not even the next day, and definitely not the day of. So I would be trying to remember when you go, like, how was I feeling after the last one, if she asked me? Or if, God forbid, she's not the type to ask you, the therapist, maybe offer it up, Whatever can get in those records, and you can't guarantee what he or she's going to put in the records, but is now has a lot more clout than you saying it in a function report or suddenly saying it at a hearing. If, how did physical therapy go, comes up in conversation. Because the therapy records, it's all like, no complaints, no complaints, no complaints. Feels good today. Does he say okay? They'll write all that stuff down. So you want to make sure they write the truth down. Kathy says, on March 24th, that would be yesterday, SSA site said Baltimore, Maryland had started a final review to make sure I meet the non-medical requirements for disability benefits. Oh, today a decision was made to deny my application. I hate that messaging they give. I mean, not that your outcome is different, but you get everybody's hopes up, because there should be no reason to do a final review unless they're talking about a federal quality review, but they don't say that. And that actually is a different verbiage when they do it. So I'm sorry, Kathy. Well, you know what to do, right? Appeal, appeal, appeal. And if you can get your hands on your DDE, if you have an attorney rep, they're going to be able to get it out of the file. Although I have one case where they didn't put it in the file, and I've since asked for it. For a person who was recently, in the last month or two, denied. And I was the attorney then, and I'm the attorney now. So it should have been put in the electronic file, and it wasn't. So I'm waiting for them to do that. And I'm going to start getting a little biatchy if I don't see it soon. Because I like to see, even though I can 99% know what RFC they gave the person and, all that, it's still good to have, because there's some nuances in there sometimes that, I don't know, just give a little bit more of an explanation of where they went wrong. And that's why I always look at it. If I've accepted a case, they went wrong, period. It's not a matter of, there's a chance we could see if they'll overturn it. No. We just fight it, because if we're here because we know that they're mistaken. You know what I mean? We know what the answer is, and they didn't make, connect the right dots. And it could be that the evidence isn't strong enough yet. That's not unusual. If someone starts a case and they have not very strong evidence and they're building it, by the time the adjudication is made, it's not quite there. It doesn't prove 12 months of this, disability is going to ensue. And maybe when they started, they were in a different age category. There's all sorts of things, but, Anyway, I hope you appeal, Kathy. You know the realities. I'm not going to say your truth, because I can't stand that expression, as if everyone's got different truths. And there's a multitude of them. There's the truth and there's everything else. So you know what it is. You're the best witness to it. You are the premier witness. But you have to make your evidence bolstered enough to meet the criteria under the law. And that's where the fail is. It's not even that the adjudicator is saying the person is in reality disabled. It says under the laws, she's not disabled under this program because this has not been met. And that's where the DDE can be helpful. Furry's in the house. Hey, Furry. I am having a nice day. Thank you. Because it's Wednesday. Wild Wednesday with the live stream. It's my favorite day of the week. Does she look like she's listening? I think she's getting sleepy. Right, Tosh? I had her in here for like an hour before we started. And I had her on our side. I had to feed the dogs, let them out, do all this stuff beforehand. Or else it'd be bugging me. It'll probably still bug us, but and she was in here longer than she preferred without snackies. And you hear her she'd yell at the door, she'd be like, hey! And I'm like, I'm coming, give me a minute. And she'd be like, hey! Like, when she doesn't get what she wants, or if she sees you eating and not sharing, she'll go, hey! I mean, she'll literally sound like a person. And then other times when she's trying to be super sweet, she'll be like, she sounds like a little old lady. She'll go, hello. Hello. Like this little type. It's pretty funny. Her voice can go this whole range. Dimple's late, she says. But hello from Ohio. Hi, Dimple. Barry says she was late too. Jimmy Reynolds is in the house. Good morning, Jimmy. Gosh, you sound like you should be on the Superman show. I know that's a different Jimmy, but and with a different last name, but I can't remember what it is. But you have one of those names that just kind of flow, kind of Hollywoodish. Good morning, people. I've been using my SSN and stilling it at Legacy in Adele, Georgia. I don't know what that means. What does that mean, Jimmy? You're using your social security number and stilling it at, I don't know what that means. There might be a typo in there I'm not getting. You could clarify if you want. That'd be lovely. LaRocho's in the house. Hi, LaRocho. Good morning, he says. He or she, I'm sorry, she. Hi, Stephanie, and to everyone in group at All Things Social Security. Thank you for the hello. That's very sweet. JC says, does the CDR switch from state DDS to new federal system also change who processes short form for? They don't tell us. I assume the whole thing's going there. I don't have any of those details. Or does it only change who processes the long form? But it's a good question. You would think if it's, with the short form, usually there's a little automation of just the ones that are not throwing up a red flag. It automatically says pass, 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 pass. That's a good point. I mean, that's just kind of a machine thing though, so I'm not sure it really matters. Does the change impact who gets which form? I would say no, it changes it because I think that who gets which form is probably part of the law and policy that's existing already. So I don't think that affects it per se, the fact that it's changing to ostensibly free up time of the adjudicators of the state so they can be working on everybody's initials and recons that have been sitting around for a year, pathetically. You're welcome, Half Pint. Dimple says, I'm in, but I'm out. I'm going to have to scoot. I'll be back in a bit, hopefully. Well, do whatever you need to do. I'm glad you popped in and said hi. That was super nice.